Once upon a time, there was Clarko's Cluster. Then there was Simo's Weagle's Web, Richmond's Dimination, and Fly's Chaos. Now it's time to usher in Mini's Mayhem. Incoming West Coast coach Andrew McQualter has not hidden the style of play he wants the Eagles to embrace in his first season at the helm. It will be fast, chaotic, exciting, and vulnerable. A nod to the way the game has evolved, in which teams hunt the ground ball and try and punish the opposition on the fast break. It's less about control and more about adventure, all while a patient rebuild unfolds in the background. There is no Tom Barrass and Jack Darling, traded to Hawthorn and North Melbourne respectively. They have been replaced by Richmond Premiership duo Jack Graham and Liam Baker, and clever Carlton forward Matt Owies. Bookended by the experience of Jeremy McGovern, Liam Duggan, Oscar Allen, Jake Waterman, Elliot Yeo, Tim Kelly and Jamie Cripps, and underpinned by the new breed coming through. Harley Reid, Elijah Hewitt, Noah Long, Brady Hoff, Harry Edwards and Jack Williams, among others. But what exactly is the Eagles' best 23? And what is a pass mark for the season? More competitive losses? 6 wins? A brand that fans can be proud of once again? Let's find out. Well, I am joined by 2 friends, an old friend and a younger friend. Barra, firstly, Adrian Barich of Channel 7 West Coast Eagles and Perth Football Club fame. How are you, mate? Good to have you back.
Yeah, great to be here, mate. When you said old, I thought I like,
Well, you're my vintage, maybe slightly older.
And then you said Mitch was young, and I'm thinking, I am old.
He is young compared to us.
But I'm the one without the hair.
You are. Hello, Mitchell Woodcock. How are you? Welcome aboard.
Thanks, Cord. It's always great to be in, isn't it?
Can you smell it?
Smell it? You can.
Week away. It's just a week away from
You
footy.
guys would say the liniment oil. I can smell the deep heat. That was more my.
You know what I can smell? I can smell the pies in the pie warmer. That's what gets me.
Hey, how come you haven't shaved your head? Because I'll admit, if I wasn't on television, I would be shaven like you.
Are you saying my TV career's done?
No.
Why are you suggesting I should shave my head?
Well, it's a little bit thin at the front there, just a little bit.
Well, it's been thinning, but I'm a 58-year-old man.
But I have no choice because apparently bald blokes, people don't trust bald blokes or
you
something.
Had any work done up there, Barrett?
No, mate, I haven't. A couple of my mates have.
Hasn't
What
got
about
turkey?
any colour?
No, I had the odd Botox.
Are you saying you're naturally brown? Well, there's a little bit of grey at the sides, but...
I've had the Botox from time to time.
Have you?
Yeah, because I've got the axe wound between the eyes.
Okay.
So, but even that, what's the point? What's the point, really?
Well, mate, I would have had Botox, but you know what they say, you don't put a Rembrandt in an IKEA frame, mate. You're not going to muck around with this visage, mate. You know what I mean?
You are dreaming.
Now, listen, we've spoken about Fremantle on Tuesday, so we're going to talk about the West Coast Eagles today. And we're going to segue a little bit after that into our 2025 AFL season guide. Comes out tomorrow in the West Australian, free with your newspaper, boys. And there's a hell of a lot in there. And we're going to pick a few little things apart in there. But let's start.
Is that the one that last year where you tipped Melbourne to win the premiership? Was that the one?
I knew you were going to bring
Josh, was that the one? That
yes,
was the one.
That
was
is
the one.
So let's get the elephant in the room out the way. Let's get it out the way.
Yes, mate. What a blue.
I had faith. Well, it's not a blue.
What a mistake.
I didn't foresee the off-field dramas that were going to befall that club. I probably should have.
He tipped the Demons last year.
I did to win
Yeah,
the
well,
flag.
you got to take a risk, don't you? It's 18 teams. You got
Hey,
one
you know
and
what?
18
At least
shot.
I'm not vanilla boring and pick. Let's pick Collingwood to win. I bet you picked Brisbane to win
let's
it
not
this
be
year.
right.
Have
Let's
you
not be
picked
right.
Brisbane to
I
win?
tipped Brisbane.
Oh, you haven't. I see. We'll get into your tips for the flag later. But
It's like an
better
old
be-
married couple.
yeah, well, we are. And yeah,
You better be tipping Hawthorn, mate. You better be tipping Hawthorn.
let's
That's
see.
all I'm saying.
Well, let's see.
That'll be a disgrace if you're not.
So-
a bloody disgrace.
Now, let's start with the Eagles, and I'm going to read out my best 23, and perhaps you guys can read out your best 23. Okay with that?
Let's have a crack.
So I'm going to have a go, and I've got to say, not quite as hard as Fremantle's best 23, but still difficult, which I guess shows that they're on the way back of sorts. So I've got Cole, Edwards and Hoff in that back line. Now, Cole's an interesting one, but just doesn't let them down too often.
Tick.
I've got Jinby, McGovern and Liam Baker across the half-back line. Liam, of course, will be coming through that midfield a bit as well.
Spot on.
I've got Hunt, Reid, and I've got Duggan on a wing for now.
Duggan.
Yeah, on a wing for
But they're
now.
playing him in the midfield.
They
you know
have
that.
been, so
Yeah.
but you're starting a wing. You can switch, can't you?
Can I interrupt for
yeah.
1 sec? Hutchinson, he's been playing on the wing, hasn't he?
He has.
So it's been Jack Hutchinson and Tyrell Dewar, who appear to be the two guys that are competing for that opposite wing role at the moment. So we'll go into that a bit more, Quarters, once you finish your team. But that's definitely one of those positions up for grabs.
It is, absolutely. It's a pretty hard one, that one. I've got Cripps, Waterman and Jack Graham across half forward. Again, there's going to be some fights for spots in that forward line, which is a good sign. I've got Owies, Oscar Allen and Liam Ryan across the full forward line. And I've got Matt Flynn in his first ruck, Elliot Yeo and Tim Kelly. Then with my bench, I've got Bo Allen, Elijah Hewitt, Jack Williams and Bailey Williams. And as my sub at the moment, I've got Hutchinson. So the thing about that is there's no Archer Reed as yet, who I really like in that forward line, but you got to still take your spot.
Okay, so I think it's worth noting, just because you mentioned Yo, this is the best 23, not the 23 we expect to take on the
It is
subs.
not round one. This will have this is not the net round one side. Obviously, Elliot Yo is out. So, but this is the best 23, all things being equal, a fully fit squad. Barra.
So you're selected, not the team for round one.
No, it's best 23.
Yeah. So so guys, the way I'm looking at it, there's three spots that I'm still really curious to where this goes, or three areas of the ground. So the first is that opposite wing role.
Yep.
You obviously had Liam Duggan in there, and I can see why. He has been playing in the middle, like you said, Barra.
Hang on, how can you see why if he's going to play in the middle?
Well, he's a half. He could be half back
because
too. He's been playing a bit of
because
half
in your best 23, you're probably going to squeeze him out of there when Yo comes back into that rotation. You've got Graham.
Round one, he's in the middle. So if we're talking round one, he's in there.
bounce.
But where does he fit? Does he fit at half back? He plays?
Yeah. So
but where does he play?
So that's the curious thing at the moment, isn't it? Because Bo Allen's come into this team and he's going to play round one and he's going to play regular footy. I can see him playing 20 games if his body allows him to. So you can see him then going to half back. They've also brought Baker in. Jimby's going to play as that third tall. Like you said, Cole's in that team because he's just a lockdown defender. And look, there's nothing pretty about Tom Cole. There never has been anything pretty about the way Tom Cole plays. But because you don't notice him, that's what you want in a small defender, I sometimes feel. You want that guy you just think, it's like a Brandon Starcevic at Brisbane. You look at him and you go, geez, I don't remember seeing him, but I didn't see his opponent
Is
either.
it a little bit like Cripps at the other end?
100%.
Cripps is not a superstar, but gets the job done pretty well most weeks, doesn't he? And
Exactly.
You don't tend to notice those players, but they're very valuable.
I'll give you the tip. The new style of play will suit Cripps. I reckon he gets revitalised. Maybe he gets another year next year as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about
when they play the Tigers brand of footy, run and stun, attack it all.
Well, that segues into the second position that I'm thinking about, guys, and is that those small forwards that you were talking about. So you've named Jack Graham at a half forward flank, and I can see why. It's so interesting right now that they've obviously got Owies in from Carlton. They've got Noah Long, who's coming back from injury, who they rate massively. The fact that he has the number 13 on his back after his first year was given it by Luke Shuey. They rate him not only as a leader and a player, but just as a general one of those players that's going to take them into the future. And he's been really impressive. The one that's jumping out for us at the moment is Tyler Brockman, who looks super fit. We know he had his off-field issues last year in his first year, but we've seen what he can do when he was at Hawthorn. We remember that game down at Launceston, well, I do anyway, when Hawthorn smashed West Coast. And this is when Hawthorn and West Coast were what we would say on par with each other, guys, at that year in 2023, where Hawthorn weren't what they are now. They're not the juggernaut. They were probably ahead of West Coast, but they weren't
not a juggernaut, mate, just yet.
But they weren't 100-point better team.
Played finals once last year, won one final, lost one.
Oh, come on,
he's making a very good point about small forwards. So
yes,
that is the biggest change in the game. If you don't have good small forwards, you're nowheresville, and that's where the Eagles have been smart to get Owies. Jack Graham will play up there, but Brockman and Noah Long and Liam Ryan and Cripps.
And I'm a big fan of Brockman. I saw, obviously, he came from Hawthorn, originally a WA boy, but liked a few of the things he did at Hawthorn. Had a pretty tough year last year, both in court and on the field. But he is looks revitalised. We saw him kick a few goals in one of the pre-season games against Richmond. So the other ones that aren't on there that we really need to mention, Chesser, we know he's going in for early season surgery. Long, you mentioned Marich is another one who hasn't done too much wrong. Clay Hall is another who will be putting up his hand at some stage. Shanahan and Jamison is the other one.
Shanahan, what do you think about Shanahan, Mitch?
So he was the absolute steal for West Coast last year in the draft. They're quite funny. They've had pick 1 and pick 30 in the last 2 drafts, which is just fascinates me. Not pick 1, but an early pick and pick 30. Shanahan they got last year with pick 30. Archer Reid, they got the year before with pick 30. Both who were considered first-round draftees who just slipped way down the pecking order. Both can play defence, both can play forward, and both can pinch hit in the ruck.
So Shanahan,
He's gone
sort
down
of
back.
picked as a forward, wasn't he? But he's gone down back and has been, training with the defenders. So
he kicked 7 goals.
I think Marek misses out. I think Shanahan plays on the bench. And I'll tell you what, the thing that poor old Marek, he got the don't argue from, we were there, weren't we? From Harley twice.
Yeah.
Mate, surely you see that coming after this. They got him yesterday at training.
I don't think you
and I
can
were
see
there.
the Harley don't
No,
argue
Brockman
coming.
got him, didn't he? Remember at training yesterday?
Brockman got him twice and a couple of tackles.
And went bang, and Harley went, whoa, what happened there?
So what I'll say on Shanahan is I think he's a little bit off playing early on, but I can see him quickly rising as that depth defender.
Bench player.
Coming through. He's going to be a really good defender, but he can also play forward. I think he kicked close to 10 goals in about less than a handful of games for Essendon's VFL side last year as a 17-year-old. So ultra impressive young man, and they've decided Archer Reid is the forward ruck. And so he's the depth player. The
I
ruck
like Archer Reid.
The ruck's the curious one for me, Quarter. So you were talking before. You've got Matt Flynn in
now
your
you have.
best,
Yeah, that
23.
I've got Bailey Williams on my bench.
I've got Bailey Williams ahead of him at the moment.
You can't play both of them, though.
Yes, you can.
You can. Well, if you can, if
you
Bailey
can.
Williams is going to kick you 30
Of course
goals.
you can. But Bailey Williams, his true position is as a forward, mate.
He's a forward ruck.
I will wash your car if Bailey Williams kicks 30 goals.
I'm not saying he will. I'm saying, but if he's capable at some stage of being able to turn into
I
a
love
forward,
the bloke, but he ain't kicking 30.
But if he's capable of becoming that forward ruck that they need, then you can play both of
So
them.
my
I
argument-
agree early on you can't, because I think that's where Archer Reid
So
comes
my
into
argument with Bailey Williams and Matt Flynn is Bailey Williams, you won't find a bigger heart anyone in that Eagles side, has done so well the last couple of years to fill that void. They need a proper ruckman. He's not a proper ruckman, with the greatest respect to him. Matt Flynn is. If he can
That's
get
a good
his
point.
body
body right, that midfield, Elijah Hewitt, Harley Reid, you have Liam Duggan swimming through there, Jack Graham, you'll have Tim Kelly, Elliot Yeo. That with a proper ruckman around stoppage, I think that they can have a real impact. But you need someone. Don't underestimate the ruck craft. Too many people do.
No, and 100%, and I agree with you. I just feel early in the season, Bailey will get the opportunity because I feel like he was just ahead of Flynn at the moment.
Well, Flynn's
Yeah, no, I
banged up
agree.
a bit with his sore back,
is.
isn't he? Yeah.
No, I
But
agree.
I-
I think Bailey Williams will start.
Yep.
But
But
I'm telling
This
you,
is the best 23, not the round one.
They both can't play
Can I-
because you've got Waterman, you've got Oscar Allen. The game has gone away from. I know Fremantle.
But he's not. Bailey Williams isn't a ruckman.
Yeah, but unless you're Amos, Jackson, or Tracy, they're the only sort of guys that can play. Those three big. You can't. Bailey Williams is not in that category, so he's got to go out of the team.
So you're saying, is that Archer Reid's spot then? Is that who he comes in? And is he the third forward who pinch hits in the ruck?
Well, I don't even know if you need him now. I'm telling you, the game has gone to the small forwards
But
now.
do you have Matt Flynn?
You watch the Indigenous
but then does
game?
Matt Flynn play 100% of game
Indigenous
time?
game, I reckon it's a bit hard to use that in comparison.
I just-
That was one out of the box.
I just don't think...
No, but you look at Brisbane, the premiers. You got Charlie, you got Archie.
Yeah, but they also then had Joe Danaher pinch hitting the ruck for McInerney and Fort, obviously, in the grand final. I don't think
Well,
Flynn
Joe Danaher, you're saying Bailey Williams is equal to Joe Danaher?
No, what I'm saying is you need a backup ruck, and I don't think with Oscar Allen's history in his knees, I don't think you can afford to have him backing up rucking. And with all due respect to Jake Waterman, I don't think he's a backup ruck.
All Australian as a forward last year. Let's
Yep.
keep him there.
So
Barrett's got a good point though.
But you need a ruck. You need a backup ruck, and that's where I can see an Archer Reid or a Bailey Williams being able to do it.
100%.
We saw at times
That's
last
all
year
he's
they had
good
to do
for
Jack
in that
Darling.
respect.
But what I will say too is, don't forget that McQualter is the new coach coming from a system where Richmond won a premiership in 2017
with no ruck.
with what was it, Sean Grigg
Yeah,
as
yeah.
the backup ruckman.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
this is a man who has the ability to change things up. I'm not saying he's going to do that. From what I can see right now, it looks like the round. This is your best 23 for the year, but the round one team. Early, if I'm guessing, is Bailey Williams as the main ruck and Archer Reid is going to debut early. I think this is just indications. I think we'll get
Not
a better
round one, though.
I think we'll get a better indication this weekend as to what their plan is.
By the way,
But
when Richmond did get a decent ruck, i.e. Toby Nankervis, he played.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying to you is that.
So I think it was because of stocks they had.
But this is
rather
where
than
They
I'm
us.
only won 3 flags, though.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
But I'm so curious as to where this works because that for the long time since Nat Nui retired, West Coast have had no real clear ruck plan. They brought Flynn over.
Why hasn't
He
played?
had a terrible injury run last year and couldn't get his body right. They had Bailey Williams, had to take up the slack. He's played, I think, 46 games in the last 2 years as an undersized ruckman.
Yeah, done well.
For the first time since Nat Nui departed or got injured with that Achilles injury in early 2023, the West Coast actually have a problem in the ruck that is a good problem. They actually have options. They can go with Flynn and Bailey Williams. They can go with Bailey Williams and Archer Reid. They can go with Flynn and Archer Reid. Or they can go with one ruckman and try and pinch it with the forward. But it all depends on Matt Flynn. He has to get his body right. If he doesn't, then they're back to square one, really, aren't they? They're playing pinch hit with the ruckman. Yes, and that's where it's curious for me.
Now, the other bloke you didn't mention was, where did you have Elijah Hewitt?
He's playing. I've got him on the bench.
He's in the best
team.
And I agree with you. I
think 100% he's in my best team. He's going to give them acceleration through stoppage. I think he's crucial to their...
Well, the coach, if you haven't got pace, you're not in the team.
Yeah.
I mean, who's the fellow they got rid of and went to end up in Melbourne with...
Jai Cully.
Jai Cully. That's why they let him go. No pace, and his knee slowed him down even more.
Had a good pre-season with Melbourne. He's going all right.
What I'll say with Elijah Hewitt, I agree he's in their best 23. And he's in their best 22. I'm predicting, though, early in the season, he will start as the sub. He played 2 games in 6 days last week.
Yeah,
he was banged up and sore and didn't train fully yesterday. That was his first 2 games in more than 12 months because of that foot injury. I can see him, as again, I'm acknowledging this is the best 23. Yes. But what I will say is I would expect him in round 1 to be playing, but I reckon he's going to be the sub for at least the first handful, maybe half a dozen games. And then once he gets his fitness up and about, we'll see him rotate and play more footy. Or he might have some rests, maybe even go back to the waffle to get a full game in there and then come and play. But I can't see him playing as in that best 22 straight away. I think it's a big risk when you haven't played footy for the better part of 18 months.
And that's why... This is probably the segue to we're predicting how many wins the Eagles will have.
Okay, so...
And this is why I feel like they will make 6 wins and maybe could push to 8 wins. But I'm 6, I think they're satisfied. I think Ruben is going to become a really good player. I reckon he's Kmart Fife at the moment, but he could become real Fife. Like, I know Fifey played back a bit and was all over the shop, but I reckon he's got that ability. They called him Fifey early doors.
Ruben
outmarked Flying Ryan. Did you see in that game?
Yeah,
he outmarked Flying Ryan.
Yeah, he's in good. He's in really good nick.
He's a monster.
The only question mark I have on him is kicking at times.
Yeah, Fifey, mate. That's right. Yeah. Sorry, I should have explained. That's why they call him Fifey.
So
Hewitt, I think, is going to be super. I reckon Harley Reid goes to a whole new level. I bumped
Do you? Year 2's often a hard year.
Yeah, there's no second year blues. Okay. Just going by that. It's a small survey. I bumped into our mate at the supermarket down there because he's got that sponsorship of the supermarket down the road.
Oh yes. Harley, when he fills the shopping trolley, what does he do?
Him and Yasmin go in, and apparently Yasmin's fantastic. I think she's got another.
He tweets it and he gets it for nothing.
You can tell that Barra's got more money than you and I do at Channel 7. He's shopping at Herdsman. We're at the IGA.
Herdsman, how do you afford shopping at Herdsman?
Mate, I checked with the bank manager, my wife, and she goes, yeah, okay, you can have 1 set of cutlets. Anyway, so I was in there the other day, and the bloke goes, yeah, Harley comes in, and Yasmin, what a beautiful girl, and they got to get her to the Eagles. She's got another year at Carlton or whatever, and he really loves it. He's such a great fella. What a great fella he is. And he goes, you know what he's asking me about? Bunbury. He said, where's Bunbury? What's Bunbury like? What's the Oval like at Bunbury? How many people in Bunbury? He got the full bottle from the supermarket jug.
There you go.
Bunbury.
So, mate,
for this weekend,
black and gold shopping for me, mate. I just have to watch every penny.
Every big event we go to, like I get a few invitations. You know who gets the most invitations? The bloke at the end of the table. When the Matildas come, who's going to be in the leather chairs?
That's the whole point. They're freebies.
When the State of Origin comes, he'll be sitting next to the boss of the NRL. He said, buddy, I don't know how you do it. You're a genius.
Barra, can I talk to you about your prediction for 6 to 8 wins?
6, I said.
Oh, yes. Okay, so 6 wins. Talent-wise, I have to agree with you. The caveat I'll put on it is this is a new game plan under a new coach.
Yeah.
This is a fast game plan where turnovers, I feel, are going to be high because they're learning it and they're playing with speed. And I don't think quite yet the skill's up to scratch. So my curiosity is, how does that affect them early season? How does that affect their overall wins? And are we going to see some really bad losses to some really good teams because the better teams will punish them the other way? And this is where Jeremy McGovern is so vital in that back line. And that's why we're doing, Quarters and myself are doing a ranking the players from West Coast and Fremantle. And Jeremy McGovern was my number 1, not only because he was an All-Australian last year and won the club champion, but because in those games where that turnover is going to happen from halfback for their team and for West Coast half forward, he's going to have to stand up because they're going to come thick and fast. The likes of Sydney and Geelong are going to hunt you and they're going to counter-attack quick. And that's what worries me a little bit at times. It's a long education process.
And let's remember, this is a West Coast side without Tom Barrass now. So Jeremy...
Harry Edwards...
I know he's a good player.
Brady Hoff is just...
But I want 20
Brady
games
Hoff.
from Harry Edwards.
Yeah, and Brady Hoff, tell me Brady Hoff.
Well, Brady Hoff is one of the handful of shining lights in a dark 3 years for West Coast. I'm a big fan of Brady Hoff. But all I'll say is I just want to see how the new game plan is implemented and how long it takes them to get it.
So is that your
I think
pass
it's going
mark,
to be
6
tough.
wins? Anything less is not a pass mark? Well, that's what
I'm predicting they'll win 6 games. But and Simo reckons they'll get the Gold Coast in the first round.
Yep.
And they'll get Essendon in the first 6 games. So they'll be 2 and 4.
Geez, they're going to have to find someone for Kako when they get to play
Hang on.
See, I think they can
So
get...
Simo's got them 2 and 4 at
4 against the Cats yesterday.
I mean, the Derby last year they ambushed Fremantle.
That
Surely
ain't
that
happening.
can't happen again.
That ain't happening this year, mate.
But just riddle me this, my friend.
Yes.
The Dockers have got Geelong first up. They do well down there, fair enough, but they're going to go in without Young and Darcy, and so they drop that. Then they got Sydney over here, will be so fired up for the season. They'll be their 3rd game. They'll be flying.
Well, they'll be coming off a win against Hawthorn in opening round, mate.
And then they run into...
Are you tempering expectations here?
No, not at all.
Then they run into
this
West
is
Coast.
ridiculous.
But I don't think West Coast can get them because not after what happened last year. But I hope not.
So my thought on West Coast. So I'm going to go through. So in the West Australian AFL season guide that's out Friday. Did I mention that earlier? Yes, I did. I'm mentioning it again.
Tomorrow.
So we've
Cha-ching.
got pass marks for every club. We'll go through them. West Coast is 6 games. That's a pass mark. I think they win 5 to 6 games. I think they will lose games you don't expect them to, and they'll win games you don't expect them to. They'll win some at home. I think Mitch is right. They will take a while to adjust to the new game plan. They will be caught on the counter.
Mate, they've been training it. Baker's been leading it. Jack Graham's been leading it. Let me tell you, this is very similar to when Simo arrived at the club.
Yep.
You blokes, you were probably still at high school, but but Quarters was saying, it's going to take a long time to adjust to this Simpson bloke. Who is this Simpson bloke? Yes, he played 300 games. What has he really done?
I didn't say what has he really done.
Suddenly they're 2015, they're in the grand final.
Yeah, but
very.
Barra,
This is how I know Eagles people we do 2 push-ups and we think we win the flag.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
They are on the right trajectory, and I reckon that this is similar to when Simo arrived. Same age, exactly the same age as when Simo arrived is Mini.
Yep,
but the young blokes have got in with him, and I don't know if the squad is that much difference from what he had back then.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I think it's going to be more exciting. I think they're heading in the right direction. I just think Simpson's game style at the time was so structured that it would allow them to actually weather storms, and it ensured that they were quickly developed. I think this side, the game plan they're playing, the modern game plan is so high on turnovers. I think we see more close games or absolute beltings than we do see 5-goal wins these days because of this new style of play.
Well, you certainly won't see more contrasting game styles than Adam Simpson and the Eagles, that controlled game of footy to
Kick
this
sideways,
new
backwards,
this new frenetic stuff.
Careful.
So we've done. Samantha Rogers has analysed what each club needs to achieve for 2025 to be a success. So West Coast, we've got winning 6 games. Fremantle,
So she's a good judge.
Fremantle, we've got making the preliminary final, which is fair enough. But I think that's a bit overs. I think with Freo.
Why is it overs?
I think top 6 winning a final, I'm okay with that.
Really?
I don't think they have to get through the prelim. I think they're capable.
Is that because of the way they fell off last year, or what?
No, I think that was a bit of an anomaly last year because
we went from 3rd to 10th.
Yeah, so you've lost that game to Essendon by a point.
Mate, how did they lose to Essendon? Come on.
Well, there was,
mate.
I'll tell you how.
Does anyone actually know how that
couple
happened?
Of stoppages.
There's only 2 mysteries last year. How they lost the Derby, the first Derby.
Carlton in Adelaide.
And how they didn't beat.
So they lost the last 4 games. There was no Tracy, there was no Pearce, there was no Sean Darcy. I think Freo last year should really have been playing finals. They win one of those, they do play finals. But I think win a final.
So you've got a question mark over, mate.
I haven't got a question mark.
Mate.
I think
I sense a question mark.
I'm more worried heading into the season right
It's
now.
good to have you back, Barrett.
I'm more worried about going into the season right now with Hayden Young injured. That's actually,
Yeah, that's
when
a
I say it was
concern.
okay, I mean like I wasn't stressed about Sean Darcy being out because I think Liam Reedy's a very quality ruckman or capable ruckman. Obviously not a Sean Darcy-esque, but I think he can do a job. Hayden Young, they just don't have another player like him, and if he's not right, come early part of the season, and they don't get me wrong, they need to win 4 of their first 6 games.
Yep.
If they're going to make top 4, you need a good start. I know
And you need
Brisbane
to-
didn't.
I know Brisbane
Unless you're
were
Hawthorn.
fifth.
Unless you're Hawthorn of
Dogs were
last year.
7th.
Yep.
You got to be top 4 from WA.
I think
and
you've got
probably
to-
top 2, to be
Yep,
quite
and
Mate,
so I
there's an
think they
extra
need to win
home
4 or
game
6.
this year, don't
Yep.
forget, remember, for both our sides.
Yep, but you
That's
gotta
the other
win it.
reason I'm saying 6.
But you
the
gotta win
Eagles
it.
are playing North in Bunbury. They're going to win that, right? So that's another game for them, okay?
So what do you think a pass mark for Freo is?
I'm saying I've tipped them to win the flag. So
well, we'll get to
I'm
that in a minute.
I'm saying prelim. And we were at training today. Sorry, Mitch, you weren't there, but me and Glenn were there. And,
Fife was back, which was good to see. First time he's taken
mate,
part in match sim.
how much was Fife back? As soon as he heard the news that Young was out, mate, he was right back.
He was, yeah,
so
yeah,
back.
yeah.
And Johnson was back, and Brody was lifting, and Erasmus was lifting, and Murphy Reed's going, oh my God, I might debut here.
By the way, Hayden was doing some little bit of running, but mainly walking laps. So he's okay. It's along the minor end of hamstring.
But he's gonna miss 2 or 3.
No, he's not playing round.
But I'm
round
sorry,
one.
all those players you mentioned are great players and are capable of
But
playing
they're not
AFL
young.
football.
Oh, Hayden
but
Young
if
is real key to
if
them,
I'm
yeah.
Josh Tracy, if I'm Jay Amos, if I'm Shea Bolton, and I'm looking up the field and Hayden Young is that blonde lock streaming at me, and you're looking
you
at that
want him.
left boot, your eyes are like dinner plates. You're seeing the world. You're
Tell you
seeing
what, you are
Kumbaya.
too if it's Shea Bolton coming
Yes.
out of the middle as well.
But
so.
you need him up forward as well. So I'm just worried about him early part
So
of the
let's
season.
just go through
Mate,
these
can I
very
just
quick.
before you move on, just from training today, because
Yep.
you and I were there.
Switkowski was a good one too.
Yeah,
so
Switter will play, Pearce will play.
Well, the thing about Switter is he's got to see, as part of the 11-step, 12-day concussion protocol, got to see how he gets out of today. So it's how you recover
Yeah.
the next day. So, but look,
Well, you
good.
know what got me excited?
What?
Mate, Amos. Mate,
Why did
how
you get
big
excited?
is he?
Yeah,
Did you see him ragdoll him in the goal squares?
Yeah, I did.
Like, so they all went up against him. Jackson, Tracy, mate, I thought Cyclone Amos has got Tracy covered for size and power now. He just went out of my way, pal.
Gee, that's a
Wishka.
big call.
Mate,
Can't agree with you on that.
I was a real eye opener for me to see just how big Amos is. He could be. I don't want to say Jonathan Brown, but he's of that stature. You know, the size.
Did you see
of him.
read Hayden Ballantyne's comments today in the paper on
About
Josh
Tracy?
Tracy?
Yeah, JT's good.
Loves him.
You know who actually Amos reminds me a little bit of Matty Lloyd.
See, I reckon you've got a
Yep.
question
Or
mark
maybe,
over Josh
but
Tracy.
the perfumed steamroller, whatever it was,
Velvet
the
sledgehammer.
velvet sledgehammer.
He just reminds me of
It
Matthew
was a
Lloyd,
perfumed
but it's probably the left foot but it's the
was the other
size.
bit.
and
You
the
know
I
leg.
my,
think that was the other event.
you know my shorts on, you know my thoughts on Cyclone, but I'm just going to very quickly go through these, and then we're going to
So
get on
obviously
to our
didn't see it.
expert.
So you
tips.
must have gone for a
No, it's
coffee.
all right.
You went to the VIP area and spoke to Simon
please.
Garlick, did you?
Please.
That's what happened. He
Oh,
took off
please.
to talk to the big knobs. Left us arse
So
wipes.
just agree or disagree. A quick answer for these ones. Adelaide make finals. Agree or disagree?
I don't know what to make. I mean, Mitch, I'll go with whatever you. I don't know what to make of Adelaide.
I think if Matt Nix survives, they have to make finals. If they don't, I think he's gone.
I reckon they finish top 10. He survives,
Top-
but yeah, I think they're a very
I
frustrated.
can't judge them.
Brisbane finished top 2. I think that's fair enough when the list is in pretty
Living
good shape.
certainty.
No.
Danaher's the question mark
How do you
there.
replace Joe Danaher?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's
That
for
young
me.
bloke looks good, mate.
For me, that doesn't.
Sam Day.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's day and night.
Carlton finished top 4.
They have to for Michael Voss's sake. He's another one. I think he's under sneaky pressure. Carlton's list is too good. They've got a dual Brownlow
Barrett?
medalist.
No, top 6 for me. the
Okay,
Blues.
Collingwood make finals.
Mate, after last night,
Yeah.
I can't, you know what I'm getting really excited
They beat
about?
up on Richmond.
I know, I know.
That was boys v men.
But Dacos, mate,
What,
he's my Brownlow tip.
Really? What, you reckon he can play?
Oh, sorry, mate.
McFly, here's a revelation. Dacos can play.
Mate, I have to have a pick, and I've picked him for the Brownlow. And I give you the tip: when he comes in against Harley, I know he's 50 games, and he's
Gee,
but
Nick
Harley didn't
Dacos.
start.
I'll
on
have to watch this kid. What number is he?
Now, hang on.
This is like having two uncles at Christmas.
But can I say, Harley did not start on the halfback flank like Nick Dacos. So
Different
Harley
players.
is actually ahead of Nick Dacos.
Oh, yeah, Harley started
yeah, but-
very unusual. You're right. It started as an inside mid.
But
Exactly.
Harley's bigger. Dacos is quicker and more of an outside
Mate,
player,
I,
I'd
can't,
say.
yeah, I just hope they go
Okay,
against
so you've
themselves.
talked Collingwood. Essendon make finals.
They don't make finals.
I don't think that's.
I'd be happy with anything above 12.
Peter
Yeah, I've
Sumich,
got him bottom 3.
Peter Sumich is hot on him. Peter Sumich,
To
good judge,
improve.
very good on the Bombers.
To improve.
Yep.
Who's
to do
kicking
well.
their
Theo
goals?
looked good last night. When they last played, Geelong a couple of nights ago.
Oh, is that Kako?
Kako was great. Caddy looks really good.
But if you're asking a second-year player and a first-year player to kick you 60 goals, I think you're barking up the
that's
wrong
why
tree.
they're going to improve. But although I've got them into the bottom three, Fremantle will make the preliminary final. We said that Geelong win a final.
Without
I
Tom
feel like that's unders.
Without Tom Hawkins, I'm really curious to see how they go. Bailey Smith coming in. How's
he
he going
play
to
a lot
go
last
after a
year?
year? Yeah, but it's just having him. Shannon Neal's going to have a big year. I think they should play finals. I think they could be
reckon they
top
gotta-
8, but
yeah.
I'm not massive on Geelong for those reasons. I think there's a lot of questions.
Okay, Gold Coast make finals. I agree. I think it's time. They've built the list. They've got the coach. I think they make finals. I've picked them to finish in the finals.
They got to beat the Eagles in round 1. That's
Yep.
for sure. They're super fit. Hang, I'm waiting for you to talk about Melbourne.
I just don't understand.
we're getting there.
Gold Coast for me is a cultural issue more than a playing issue. This club just needs to learn how to win.
Yep.
And once they learn how to win,
Hardwick.
I think they'll be all right. But they just don't know how to win.
So what about the next
Rioli,
team on the
Hardwick.
list? Yeah, Rioli and Hardwick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon that they're on the rise, the Suns.
GWS make the preliminary final. Well, no. I'm saying unders. I'm saying win the whole lot.
Yeah, they're my tip for the premiership.
I am picking them to win the flag this year.
Yeah, so am I. They have to win the flag. They've got the best. They've got the Coleman medalist. They've got. I know he's injured at the start of the year. They've got a potential Brownlow medalist in Tom Green. Their midfield is all class. They've got Backman. Sam Taylor's one of the best defenders in the comp. I know he hasn't strung together a full season, but if he can, wow, look out. They've got depth. They've lost players, and I'm still not worried about them.
They weren't far off last year.
And they
2
keep
horrific
finding
losses
kids.
in the finals. Horrific losses.
Cody Ango from Claremont, who they took with pick
Super.
early in the thing than they thought. Nobody, people were saying he's a rookie. They've picked him up. Now he looks like he's playing round 1 on a wing.
Yeah.
So, for me, I agree with you, Quarters. I think they're going to play in a
So
grand
we'll get
final.
on to Melbourne.
Can I
I'll
just
quick-
roll? Hang on, let me
Yes,
just
sir.
roll tape. Roll tape, please, Josh. Mate, I'm tipping the Giants to play the Dockers in the grand final.
Are you? Okay, fine.
That is my grand
So
final.
I'm
teams.
tipping GWS to play, drum roll, Sydney in an all-Sydney grand final, and GWS wins, continuing Sydney's misery on the last day in September in recent
Oh,
years.
this is brilliant. This is Melbourne all over again of last year.
You
for
don't think Sydney is going to drop away?
No.
Under your old mate Dean Cox.
Mate.
Sydney was
You
the
can't
best
have
team in the competition last year until grand final day. They were the best team. You don't just fall away.
You know what? I sort of agree with you, but I'd rather argue.
Can
Yeah,
I?
fair enough.
No, I'm of the opinion I don't know. We'll get to Sydney in a minute, but
Okay.
I've got a question.
So
mark.
Hawthorn win a final.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's fair. but
don't bloody play him
No,
down.
can I
young
be honest?
squad,
Fair dinkum.
tougher draw, nothing's
Talking
linear.
to us now.
I think people have found out about them. I think coaches will have worked him out a little bit. Wouldn't shock me if they take a step back.
Yeah, before they take a
before
step
taking, I would expect.
They just got Barras and Battle, right?
Yeah, but 2026 is when I think they're going to be a top 4 team. It wouldn't shock me if they finish bottom half of the 8 or outside.
Melbourne avoid the bottom
Do you
6.
record
See,
that?
I think that. I think that's giving them too much license. I think Melbourne need to make finals because of the squad they've still got. I think they're a very capable
Well,
squad.
my big call this year is
Great judges picked them to win the flag last year.
Jacob Van Rooyen to be the breakout star this year. One of the breakout stars, sorry. I think he's capable of kicking 40-plus goals.
And Oliver's
I think
back.
he'll fix-
Oliver's back and
Yep.
Petrarca's back.
So I think he'll actually fix
Couple
their
big names.
forward woes. I think he's
But he
gonna,
didn't have woes. But remember, they won the flag. Remember?
Yeah, but they had
With
Ben
the same
Brown,
blokes.
they had Tom
They
McDonald.
didn't have
looked,
Ben Brown, really. They just had that.
They looked better. I think Jacob Van Rooyen is ready to be a star of this competition.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
this year is his year. I think he
I
kicks
wouldn't have
more
to
than
agree
40
with you.
goals.
Here's this one. North Melbourne win 6 games. I'd agree with that. I think maybe even more. I think it's time, North Melbourne. How much help do you want? Time to start climbing.
Climbing to Bunbury. They'll be flying into Busselton. You're flying
Yeah,
to
well,
Busso, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep, they will.
Yeah.
I'm just so confused by North Melbourne. I don't know where they're going. I don't know who they are. I don't know. I get why they got Parker and Darling to help
Well,
out.
they need experience.
Caleb Daniels a great pickup for me. But
Yeah,
there's just
Caleb Daniel.
some of their drafting over the years. I know they got Sheasel. If they lose Luke Davies-Uniacke this year, I think they're in a
Start
world
winning
of
a
hurt.
few games though, and everything starts gelling. You're in a different
Larky's
situation.
the man. That's why Darling's there, isn't he? Just to take the heat off
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, and Lucky's a
And
great
Zerha.
player, but
So
I want.
I think I can see why they've got Jack Darling there, and I can see why.
Decoy.
Yeah, that's right. Port Adelaide make the grand final. I don't rate them
said
that.
that?
I don't rate them that. This is our pass mark. Every team's pass mark.
No, I
So
can't.
they got close. A couple of preliminary finals. No,
Who kicks the goals?
I couldn't agree with you more.
So Georgiades is a great third tall.
So you didn't write those then? Who wrote
Marshall's
those?
Samantha Rogers.
This
Pass
is
marks.
our Western Australia. Sam Rogers.
Sam
put these.
is a very
Okay,
good
righto.
astute judge. But what I'll say is Todd Marshall's out for the year with that Achilles.
Yep.
Georgiades is a great third forward. Lukosius has gone there from Gold Coast.
He's pretty good, the young bloke, eh? He goes all right.
I'm sorry. I'm just of the opinion that I don't see how anybody's going to kick their score.
Richmond, do they win 2 games as we suggest as a pass mark?
No.
They're going to win a game.
You reckon?
Yeah, you do.
No, I can see them going winless. I genuinely
You
can.
jag one in the depths of winner, mate, when you get someone who's just a bit.
You know what'll happen?
No.
They'll beat the Dockers
Yep.
Oh, Jesus.
in the Barossa. It'll be something stupid like that.
That's a good call. Look, I think it's a lot.
You know that game, right? How bad is that honestly, that the Dockers aren't playing Richmond at the G? They have to play them in the Barossa on a neutral ground. I mean, they should beat them anyway, right? But still,
There's the one opportunity to beat Richmond at the G.
You know, Quarters is driving
play on the
over, right?
G as well.
You know Quarters is driving over, right?
Mate, I'm
I'm
so
driving
tempted.
He won't be at the game, but
I'm
he'll
going
be
to
at the Barossa.
I'm going to might be in his boot. I'm going to be in his boot.
He'll be at the Barossa.
Oh, mate, how good would it be?
You could be in the boot
Dockers will
because it's a
pound 'em.
Pajero. I can just fold the back seats down.
Mate, how many wineries? What are the wineries there we can go? There must be a heap we can go
Well,
to.
you've got the obviously there's the Barossa, there's the Clare, and then you've got Coonawarra, which is a different type of grape. So
I'm
there's
going
quite a few
international
ones.
if you two are going to a winery.
Yeah, mate, I'm just more of an SSB man, you know that. St Kilda to avoid the bottom 6. I'm really curious about St Kilda. Max King, the latest news, he's injured as well.
Is he?
They've got some injury worries, St Kilda, being talked up by Ross, the
They're
boss.
taking a
but-
step back to go a step forward, St
Yeah,
Kilda.
I'm not sure if they're taking a step forward. I'm not sure. Sydney to make the grand final. Of course, that would be a pass mark. I just like GWS.
Geez, you put some pressure on Coxie,
So
mate.
can I-
He's
Well,
not going to be
don't
happy.
take the job.
All right, sorry, same problem I've got with Port Adelaide, I've got with Sydney. Who kicks their goals?
But that was the problem last year, and they found a
but
way.
Amadi and McDonald managed to kick 60 goals between them. McDonald still hasn't recovered from that ankle injury that he should never have played with in the grand final.
Mm-hmm.
And Amadi is a guy who's going to kick 9 one game and then not touch the ball the next. Papley's getting older.
Will
Isaac
Hayward is
Heaney's
one of
playing.
the most underrated players in the competition, by
Yep.
the way. He is
Midfield's
such
amazing.
a good
But
player.
they're so stressed about kicking goals
Yep.
that they've sent McCartan up forward. And then I'm worried about who's defending down back. Is Rampy at 35 their key back?
Mm-hmm.
If they take on Carlton, who's got Kerno and Mackay, are they going to be able to stop him? I like Sydney's midfield, and but Warner, Heaney, Goulden need to kick 60 goals
Well, if they're
between
not
them.
burning after a second grand final humiliation, then I've never
Why
followed.
weren't they burning after the first?
Well, they would have been, but last year was
They
just
might
an
be crushed.
embarrassment.
I mean,
Okay.
But Coxie's handled it well. How's the 7-hour meeting they had to review the tape?
And
7 hours. And, the first minute took an hour.
Took an hour.
What the hell?
So I'm not
So
sure.
they must have gone through everyone's body language.
Why would you do
Mate,
that?
How bad were you? What's going on there?
Why would you do that?
Obviously, just to drill it home that,
And then you move
I,
on
I
and
watched
never-
I watched that minute back, right? Just to
How long
check
did it take
out-
you?
I could take
Did
an
it take you
hour.
60 seconds?
And I was thinking, there's not enough in there that you could. I don't know what they
Jeez, we
extrapolate.
find a way in our podcast, Barra. Don't worry, we make an hour out of nothing. The Western Bulldogs, the final one to win a final. Yeah, again, they're one of the teams that really confuses me. I'm not sure where they're at.
Me too.
I think winning a final would be good. Now let's go to some tips. So Barra, you've tipped. You've tipped. Everyone's tipped Richmond to win the Wooden Spoon. That's fair enough. I think they had their great day was their great period was trade week. Trade period and draft day. I think they did really well, but you're not going to see the fruit of it for about 4 or 5 years. So it's going to be a bit of a long tunnel, but you can see the light at the
I
end.
really hope Adamuze survives it too.
So
Because
do
I think if you're putting him through this, he deserves to be there at the end of it.
Low expectations by everyone, but Laylaw, apparently fantastic young fella. Like they've picked up some
he
very
looked
good
good
players.
from what we saw of him against
He
West
was
Coast.
Harley
It
Reid-esque.
was only the obviously unfortunate incident when he
Was
where he
Ruben a bit lucky there, or
No, I don't think he was lucky, but I'm glad they looked at it. I think he needs to be more careful. There's a duty of care. And I mean, there was no malice in it. It was a bit of you do that, but I think you need to be aware of what the consequences are going to be. So,
Jesus, Richmond fans though online, it's like Ruben took a. It's like Ruben ran him over.
No.
It's the way that some of them are going on about it.
So, Barra's picked Fremantle to win the flag.
yes, and I'm very happy with that decision based on what I hope they go
I hope
well
you're right.
down in Mandurah
Hope
on the
you're right,
weekend.
mate.
We'll get a sign there. I'm a bit worried about the start now with as Mitchie said, with Young not playing. I think that makes it real hard, Geelong and the Sydney game. But surely they've got all the pieces of the puzzle now. And Shea Bolton looked fantastic.
Got to
today.
finish top 2, Barra.
Yep.
Got to finish top 2. You can't do it from
So
over
who's
here.
your
unless
your
you finish top
Brownlow
2.
is Nick Dacos. Mitch, your Brownlow medalist is Nick Dacos. You've got GWS flag, Richmond Wooden Spoon.
Yep.
I've got GWS flag, Richmond Wooden Spoon, Tom Green as the Brownlow medalist this year.
And who did Mitch have?
He's got Nick Dacos as well.
Nick
Two very
Dacos.
good judges.
Good judges we are.
Now, I'm excited. You know why, Barra and Mitch? Because we have a mailbag segment. We'll be giving away a prize every week, starting next week. Thanks once again to our great friends at Thirsty Camel. Get your questions into the westsport@wanews.com.au, or you can leave your question in the comments on YouTube or Spotify.
Challenge us.
Hey.
Have a crack at us. Do everything.
Hey, boys, I enjoyed your recent discussion on the slow process of the stadium for Hobart. Maybe AFL Tasmania can make a marketing initiative and name it the Glacier, which could generate discussion and keep interest in eventually visiting the venue. Our good friend Andrew Vitterlin, you'd remember, Barra.
Very good,
I
Andy.
love the idea. Well, I'll tell you what, pull your finger out, Tasmania. Build something at that dilapidated old sewerage port that is Macquarie Point. Put a sparkling jewel in your city and get people to come down. What are you doing in Tasmania?
That's very good, mate. I like that. Can you put that on the promo? Hey, the other thing I was going to say about Harley Reid, who will be in the top 50 by the end of the year, I reckon, but was, mate, there's a bloke at the supermarket. He goes, mate, did you see how much Finn Callaghan got offered? 17 million for 10 years. Where's that leave you, Harley? And you could just see him going, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, smiling away. Mate, how good would it be to be Harley Reid? He's probably going to have to they're probably going to have to offer 20 mil for 10 years to keep him.
Yep.
Or will he do what Finn's done and just gone 4 years till free agency and then I'll go back home? What do you think, Mitchie?
Or does he just go through to the end of his third year and make his mind up then? There's no reason he can't do that.
I don't think he can go through next year
Why not?
without signing.
Why not?
Because it'll be ridiculous. It'll be too stupid. He'll
Well,
be
you can
meeting
drive your price up.
Did you hear Simo today saying he met with 50 players while he was coaching the Eagles, secretly? 50 players. How many appointments would Harley Reid be having in that year?
So he's saying 50 players from opposition teams.
Yeah, starting with Elliot Yeo.
As we said last year, Barra, when people were having a crack at Sam Mitchell, it's common practice among coaches.
Yeah, but he did it in
common
public.
practice. No, he didn't. He
got
was
caught.
invited to a wedding.
He got caught.
Harley.
Come on, give me Mitch. How much are you going to have to pay to keep him?
Oh, it's going to be $2 million a year, 10-year deal.
2 million. First
But
$2 million player.
What I'm saying to you is, from West Coast point of view, look, Harley can wait as long as he likes. If I'm the Eagles, I want a commitment by the end of this year.
Yeah.
If I'm the Eagles, I want a commitment by the end of this year, or you've got to maximise him now, because I think with draft, with Tasmania, with all this sort of stuff coming in, I reckon we're going to have a new wave of player movement in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're going to walk him.
Do we have a mid-year trade period?
I think we're going to get closer to that. And I'm not saying they're going to walk into
supposed
a
to be, no,
pre-season draft.
Cubs aren't gone a bit cold on that.
It's going to be.
I was big on that.
I just think there's going to be a lot of moves made.
Anything-
And I think there's going to be a lot. The draft for the next 2 years is going to be so vital with Tassie coming in.
Yep.
I think if they don't have a commitment by him from the end of the year, they need to then move him on and get the maximum value out of him. I know that's a massive call, but that's just the way I see it. I hope he doesn't go for our sakes in terms of the media, because you just love watching West Coast at the moment for guys like him, Jinby, for various reasons. And you hope for West Coast's sake they can build a team around him. And because when he leaves, you will have the added pressure of having to restart a little bit again. But yeah, I think by the end of this year, they need his signature.
And what about some honesty from the players if they're meeting with clubs? Rugby league, you and I know rugby league. Right? They do it in rugby league. They go, mate, I'm leaving next year.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to play for you and I'll still play well in the grand final, like the Penrith bloke.
That's a really tough one. But yeah,
that's how
I
they
do like
they
the
do it in the league.
It's a more mature way of doing it. As for the
so you
Tasmania
have to be
thing,
Barras. Well, you were there. Was it you and me interviewed Barras?
No,
or
it was
you
you
and me?
and me.
It was
you
you
and
two.
me.
Yeah.
Mate, what a team we are.
Yeah.
And so I said to Barras, or you did.
You did.
One of us said,
Yeah.
mate, what about this talk about you leaving? Oh, no, mate. I love the Eagles. I'm staying. I'm never going. And then
That's just stuff that's
How
made
much
up
lo-
at this time of year. I'm a key position player.
how much longer after that before you declared he was
Yeah,
leaving?
yeah. So it was a fair way.
As for Tassie quarters, back to Tassie, They won't play in a stadium for the first 2 years of their existence. That's my prediction.
Well, no, they'll be playing in. There won't be a stadium.
That's
probably.
what I mean. They'll be playing in
they'll be
Launceston and
playing-
Hobart. They won't be playing in a new stadium
Yeah,
for
we'll
the first
get your
2
acts
years.
together in Tassie. Seriously, show us that you are a premier state. Stop this mucking around. From the YouTube, after Tuesday's Dockers season preview episode, of course, it was on the heels of J-Lo, the announcement that he's not going, when he comes off his contract, he's going into staff payment. So he'll just be a member of staff.
Is that what we're on here?
Yeah, it's exactly what
I don't know what
Mitch
you're
and
on
I
about.
are. You're not.
You're at the herdsman. I don't know what you're
Mr.
on.
Ferrari driver.
Mate, can I tell you? Jeez.
Tell you, well, how many parking bays? Do you have a couple of parking bays?
You know, I've
here?
never asked for a parking bay here.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I've never had
Where
a
do you
sick
park?
day, and
Where
I've
do you
never.
park?
Pardon?
I've never seen
Because so
you,
many parks here now.
You know what? I've never seen you park, which make me suspicious. If you got some like
You don't have to park when you drive.
velvet lined private parking.
Oh yeah.
you go
Everyone,
somewhere.
You don't have to park when your driver drops you off.
Mate, he has.
that
Don't
right?
you start.
Do you
He
have a
has
Jeeps?
he's made people think that I drive around in Ferrari. Mate, I'm driving a Hyundai i30 because my dog can get in it. I love it. No one
should
thinks
see
I'm
what I'm driving
No
around
one
in
thinks I'm
today.
a half black flanker.
Corolla Levine.
What do you got?
I'm not saying my car. My car will get egged or something. I'm not that
Simo's
brave.
not working here. What are you
I'm
talking
not
about?
that brave. My car will
That's
get egged
the
or
bad
something.
boy number plates. Oh, I've given it away. Sorry, mate. So, from Grant Smith, I don't understand the pressure on J-Lo. By the way, he hates J-Lo. Doesn't like
No,
it.
it's JL.
JL, okay.
Why would you want to be
letting
called
know,
J-Lo?
doesn't like it. So he develops the list, and as one of the youngest teams, as soon as he gets them up a bit, all of a sudden he's wasting the team he built, and they're going to lose their opportunity. There is no way all 40 players would believe in their chances if they didn't rate him. Well, we're about to find out because they need to make finals and they need to win one.
Hey, who started the Bevo rumours, by the way? You did. You.
No, I didn't write it. At that point, it wasn't me. That was written by our sports editor, Jacob Waddell.
Nothing to do with us.
Over 12 years.
Oh, hang on. Where did it come
I
from?
find.
By the way, that's just that always every now and then the little feather floats through the air and just reminds you of that. So,
I would be
won't go away
interested.
that.
Mate,
I'd be
I don't
interested.
think you're off the money.
Yeah.
I mean, very close to the CEO.
I would find this.
If he doesn't
interesting.
re-sign, if the Bullies don't re-sign him, that'll be an indication something's going on.
I find it just all interesting, to be honest. The Longmuir situation. Last year they did the 1 year deal, which I thought was kicking the
Took
can
the pressure
down the
off
road.
last year.
Yeah, but it was kicking the can down the road.
It was.
And now they've done this.
He's done
I'm
the
not
right
against it. I just find this so interesting.
Oh,
He does his own management
It was
too,
half
Justin.
clever. It was half clever though, wasn't it? Because they
half clever. I agree.
they
It's
didn't
a
have
good way
to
of
give him a
putting it.
long-term
But it
deal.
was also
they didn't have to
half-caked.
embarrass him with
I
a
agree
bad.
with that.
It was also half baked though.
Let's see
Well,
how.
he's done the righty basically.
I'll tell you what. If they pull off a flag this year, it's genius.
If they pull off a flag and
Everyone's a genius.
if they pull off a flag, has he missed an opportunity to cash in
Oh,
on a
don't-
big deal? Or I'm so curious to how this deal works. I don't think we have enough information to judge it fully.
This one from Barty, 74. Why do we still use injuries as the excuse for Freo's fail season last year? There were games lost last year on account of bad coaching decisions, which have enabled cruise mode going into a final series. Imagine all those injured players back playing in the finals. Most notable was that Tassie Hawks game. Only my opinion, but I can't see how the new employment agreement is going to alleviate the internal and external noise. Let's call that pressure, by the way, on the coach. Surely other coaches are going to be sounded out in the interim because the presser was hardly a show of confidence in JL. The body language on Garlic was telling. That's Simon Garlic, the CEO. I don't think
I
his body
disagree with
language
that.
was.
Simon
Look,
Garlic.
I think
What
they
was his
need-
body language like?
I don't think he's.
Simon
I think his
Garlic
body
is a
language was fine.
very confident man who's
Smart
also
guy.
very kind from one of my experiences with him. He always says hello to everybody. I've seen him talking to fans.
Good fella,
He is
Simon.
not a. He's a very smart, business savvy man.
Big Drake fan.
But yeah, apparently.
I sat next to him at the Drake concert.
But apparently,
Mate, he's not
he
happy.
knows all the lyrics.
He's not happy that you let that out.
Why? I didn't leave.
Has
it.
he had a crack
This
at
is
you?
the first time
Hey,
I've
hey,
communicated
I've got to
that
say, this is my
publicly.
first chance to say this. Quarters has done two amazing things in the preseason. One was let out the story about Simon
didn't
Garlic
let it
knowing
out.
all the Drake songs. He was not happy because Pikey didn't know him, and he was there too.
He was there,
And he didn't know the songs, right?
but Simon did. He was singing the lyrics.
And the other great
Which
thing,
was amazing.
The other great thing, this
Wouldn't
is
have a clue.
Mitchie, listen to this.
Yeah.
The other
What else
great,
have I done?
the other great thing he did was after a few beers, he stole. You have caused that contract, J-Lo's contract.
What else? What did I do?
You have caused it single hand because he said to him, "Mate, if he's 2 and 4, we're going for him." We are going for him. If he's 2-4, I'm telling
See, now
you, we are coming for him.
Now you've taken that out
And
of context.
and Simon's gone, shit, we
That
better
was just
sign.
no, it wasn't. That's just a general off-the-record chat, which is true. This is our job to
I think
if the coaches aren't going well, then we've got to question
fair
them.
cop to you, mate. That
Yeah.
was brilliant.
I think-
At least I'm being honest.
You influenced the club.
How do you know I said that?
Because you told me.
going back to Simon, I will say that his body language isn't a negative because Simon, for me, is a very confident in himself, relaxed businessman who knows what he's doing and doesn't second guess himself. So where people think that I can see maybe why they thought that, but I also can understand from Simon's point of view, he would have come in with a very relaxed attitude about this.
Mitch, Barra, it's been a pleasure once again. I can't wait to have you back into the studio on a regular basis again this year.
Let's do it.
And, let's just get into it. Bring on the 2025 season.
Quick
Thursday
one, opening
night.
round. Are we in favour or no?
No, make it round one.
But it's on early, next Thursday, mate. You're not going to not be watching, are you?
No, I'm going to love every second of it. But I'm just saying, let's get rid of this nonsense. Make it round one, but play. Have your Northern States games. So your Sydney, your Queensland,
First 4
and New South
games?
Wales, have them early. Make it the Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, whatever, and then you roll the other games on after that.
Yeah.
I think it creates too many issues early with buys and people are confused. Round one,
So the Hawks aren't winning the flag, right?
no,
Righto.
long shot. Battlers, mate, battlers.